God does not want evil to occur, right? Now, I was watching a video on TikTok the other day, and the guy was basically saying that, he thought that when the universe created, that he thought that good and evil were created. And honestly, that's just a load of trash. I'm gonna be honest. Um, God did not create evil, right? Evil isn't necessarily really supposed to exist, right? God created light and darkness. And I think that's what the guy was really trying to say. Light and darkness is not the same thing as good and evil, right? Darkness is really just the absence of light. In the same way where when you're getting ready to go to bed and you're going to sleep, it's dark outside, but it's not evil outside. There is simply no sunlight. You see what I'm saying? So naturally, it is dark outside, and because that there's sun, there is light outside, right? So darkness is merely the absence of light. God did not create good and evil. God created light and darkness. God never created evil, right? Evil is really something that exists because God gave man free will, right? That is what God gave man. You don't really need to believe in any specific religion to believe this. Every religion has their own way of saying that God has free will. In Christianity, they talk about the Garden of Eden, and they talk about how the serpent spoke to Eve, and he tried to convince her to eat from the forbidden fruit, and she eventually ate it, and her and Adam both ate it, and they were both banished from the Garden of Eden. Now, this story basically exemplifies that God had given Adam and Eve free will. He didn't just create humans and say, I'm going to force you to be a certain way. God gave every human being free will because God wants every person to be a good person, but he wants them to choose to be a good person, right? Because if he forces them to be good people, then there's not really a point because then everything becomes predictable. Then everything becomes mundane. Then, nothing is really, your life isn't necessarily in your hands if God makes you do certain things. God does not make people do certain things. He wants every person to be a good person. And for the people that follow his path, he kind of reveals more